Welcome to Jill on Money, powered by The Compound. I am your co-host, Jill Schlesinger. I'm a certified financial planner. I'm joined by another certified financial planner who's also my executive producer, Mark Talercio.
Good day, Jill.
Good day. Hey, Mark.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, you and I have something in common. We suffer from pension envy.
Yes.
Because we hear from so many people who have pensions. I mean, they've earned them. I don't want to take anything away, but that beautiful stream of income, consistent for the rest of your life, is kind of amazing. So a lot of people who have these, maybe you're a teacher, you're a municipal worker, a lot of our listeners and viewers who are in the armed forces, they are able to have streams of income after a certain amount of time that they serve, and they contribute to it, and their employer contributes to it. And, you know, there are a few private pensions left, not that many. So here's a big question that I want to know. If I get a job offer to go, say, be in the government or be a teacher, how do I weigh the value of that pension? What is the way that I should think about it? Maybe I'm making $150,000 a year in the private sector. I put money into my retirement account. I take a pension job, and maybe I'll have to take a reduction in salary. Maybe it's 110, 120,000. Maybe it's 100,000. But I will get that future stream of income if I stick around in the organization, let's call it 20 years. So how do I make a determination if it's worth it or not?
Or the other way around. You currently are in a job with a nice pension, and you have an offer from another job that doesn't have a pension, which, by the way, that was me, Jill.
Oh, my God.
When you came and poached me.
I did. Mark was really in that beautiful system of the pension system of the Writers Guild or of CBS?
Writers Guild of America. Yes, I was in line to have a big fat pension if I stuck with it.
Okay, wait. How many years in did you have at that point?
5.
So you had 5 years in. And how many years did you have to stick with the WGA to get that pension? 20?
Well, I still get, when I retire, I will still get a very small amount that will cover my monthly coffee, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like 30 years you had to stick in.
Yeah, 30 is a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big commitment. So you knew you were giving something up. A stream of income that, had you stayed there 20 or 30 years, would be, I don't know, what would it have been? 80 grand a year?
Yeah, probably something like that. It's you know, we still know people there who
Right.
are, and we know people that have retired who are now collecting that pension. It's a nice pension, but you know, at the time I had to weigh the pros and the cons and think about my long-term career and what I was going to be happy doing and if it was worth it. And I decided to go with you.
That was a very bad decision. Let's say that you
But wait,
had...
guess what? I still have a pension, as I always say. It's
know.
called Social Security.
Okay. You'll have to watch that video separately.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say that a pension to me in 20 years is worth $90,000 a year. I'm early in my career, but I look at the projections. So if I said 90 grand a year, you know, then I know it's inflation. So let's do a little back of the envelope. Essentially, that is about, let's just pretend it's, you know, at the very least, it's $3 to $4 million in today's dollars. Okay.
Huge.
So that's a big chunk of money. And I remember having this conversation with a friend of mine who was a teacher who said, I get paid so much less as a teacher than I would in the private sector. And I said, yes, but you will be getting this stream of income. Do you think, are you going to make so much more money in the private sector that you can accumulate that same amount of money over the same period of time? That's how I think about the value of a pension.
Yeah, sure. And then you also got to ask yourself, am I happy in my life doing what I'm doing? Knowing that I got to stay here 20 more years. You know, if you're like 5 years away, that's a different story.
Right. We've talked to people who are so close to getting that pension benefit, or even working 2 or 3 extra years. They turn the corner on being able to have a pension plus Social Security cover all of their expenses.
Right.
That's a great peace of mind that you can gain. That comfort level is massive. It doesn't seem like a lot when you're in your 30s. It seems like a lot when you're in your 60s. So I think that the value of a pension is the consistency of the income and the fact that you don't have to save all of the money to get you your retirement, towards your retirement goal. And I think for many people, they discount that pressure. You don't realize that there will be competing forces in your life. And, you know, if you're having kids and you're like, oh, well, maybe I won't put as much money in my retirement plan because I need to save for college. Those are the kinds of decisions that can really be alleviated in some respects by having a pension. I'm not saying that every pension job is great. I'm delighted that Mark decided to work with me for these last however many years. How long has it been? Almost 15 years.
We are about to start our 14th year.
Yeah. So, okay. So, you know, there it has been great. And you are not entirely happy with where you were.
Yeah,
So that's
again,
the other piece.
yeah, that's what I mentioned before. It all comes back to how happy are you in your life? I had kind of reached my peak where I was. I couldn't envision staying there for another 20 years. I was surrounded by people who just going through the motions just because they knew that they were going to get that pension. I'm not wired that way. I couldn't do it. So yeah, it wasn't a really hard decision for me.
But if you are weighing two different jobs, it is really imperative to think about both sides of this. You know, the salary and the pension. Maybe it's even like maybe you're working in a hospital. We've talked to a lot of people who say, I work in a hospital, they put 10% in, or you're working for a nonprofit. And instead of getting a match, 50 cents on the dollar up to 6%, the hospitals or the nonprofits saying, oh, we'll put 12% in automatically for you. And you just have to put 2% in. That weighs into the decision. So if you are looking at two different positions, one in, say, for-profit, one in non-for-profit, one has a pension, one doesn't, get in touch with us. We will help you figure out what each role is worth. Then you tell us whether or not you're happy or unhappy with where you are. And then you can maybe have a little bit of a more math behind the decision. You can still make an emotional decision. I get it. But I think that sometimes the numbers will move you in one direction or the other, or maybe reinforce the idea that you want to work someplace where you feel a little bit more aligned with the mission of an organization. So if you've got a question about this, you're weighing the pension, no pension, give us a shout. Just go to jillonmoney.com, click the contact us button, write us a note. We'd love to bring you into our world and answer your question. You can leave comments here. And as always, we so appreciate you watching today, and we'll see you next time.